Welcome everyone to this week's OpenxAI AMA with Ashton. If you guys could throw up a bunch of hearts so I know my mic is heard, that would be awesome. Perfect. I can see that we're being heard. Okay, so quick reminder, uh, for the AMA at the end of the session, if you would like to speak, just request the mic and we'll bring you up. All questions, big or small, are welcome. For anyone who's not comfortable speaking, you can join our Discord or Telegram, and you can drop your questions in our main chats, and one of our wonderful ambassadors will pick it up, bring it up, and speak for you, or I'll speak for you myself. So thank you, Ashton, for showing up. I will give the floor to you.
Thank you, Chris. Mic check. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Yeah, all right, cool, thank you. Hope everyone is doing well. Thank you for joining. As usual, we will go through some industry updates and OpenxAI product and community updates, and then go to community questions. So today I think we'll just keep it short because I want to spend a little bit more time speaking about OpenxAI or any questions that you guys have. The biggest thing I would say that we're also going to be focusing, especially Q2, Q3 this year, the idea of the agentic Phi, because we're going to be working a lot with Solana ecosystem and Ethereum ecosystem. That's one of the primary goal for us. We also want to understand, what are the really very, very nice but also very important areas in the DeFi sector, because the DeFi sector is always has been and always will be an important sector. Because one of the great use case for crypto, other than speculation and trading, is DeFi, right? And I think with a lot of US regulations and stable coins related initiatives and different bills going to pass in the coming days and coming weeks, there will be a lot of DeFi awareness. Will bring into new demographics. So that going to be an important part, because a lot of banks, like regional banks, will start working on like a DeFi products, regulated DeFi products, whether it's a staking or whether it's yield products or lending and borrowing. Those kind of like services going to be there, because one of the another reason I think the banks, like traditional banks, when I say traditional, let's consider like neobanks. That's more like an accurate statement. So neobanks and more like regional smaller banks, they need to survive, and they see really nice business models offering like staking. So when I say staking, like think about like a typical like Bitcoin and Ethereum holding. And then people can stake with the bank instead of going to Aave, and they will provide like a better security. Because if you put your Ethereum on Aave, obviously it's secure, but user experience can be quite bad. And if Ethereum crash 30%, 40%, your position will be liquidated. But at least in the bank world, they might even call you before the liquidation happened, right? So there might be better services that banks can offer. Is a good revenue model for bank, though they can keep their staff busy. I think those kind of initiatives will kind of spark a little bit more better awareness, a mind share about DeFi. Because I mean, when you look at DeFi, it's a very small niche. I mean, we feel DeFi is one of a massive sector within Web3, right? During last cycle, DeFi was the biggest narrative. A lot of protocols, they built a lot of DeFi primitives, DeFi infrastructure, DeFi apps, not just within blockchain, within specific chains. There used to be like a cross-chain DeFi applications and technologies. And I think like projects like Chainlink, they specifically focus on DeFi infrastructure as a service, because they see a DeFi being a big thing. Coinbase and Base, even Solana, they see DeFi as being one of a major industry. And I think I'm also kind of aligning with those theses because DeFi is being proven over and over again since 2016. DeFi has been a legit industry compared to like NFTs or maybe meme coins. DeFi is a very utility-based industry. So I think this year, next year, DeFi will have the different flavors, come in different forms that we have never seen before. So I think DeFi, paying attention to DeFi is an important part if you're a developer, if you're a founder, if you're an entrepreneur in the Web3 space. And I think for us, the biggest opportunity for us when it's come to DeFi, like a lot of DeFi sector, still like primitive in my opinion. I think last maybe 24th of February, or maybe I can't remember which AMA I talked about this, maybe 24th or maybe February 10th. I talked about what's the meaning behind like agentic fi, and why I think agentic fi, something like agentic fi is going to be a big narrative. So the reason why I think AI and DeFi is a really nice mixture because of the pain point, and also the enabling factor that AI can enable with DeFi sector. So I think I talked about like the first use case, which is Melon protocol back in 2017. You have off-chain like algorithm connected to on-chain vote, and off-chain compute or off-chain price feed will tell on-chain smart contract what to do, and basically manages liquidity. And fast forward now, we have advanced smart contracts that are capable of balancing, rebalancing, finding like the most I would say most efficient path to execute the liquidity on a DEX. Things like smart order routing, looking at the liquidity concentration. Like if you look at Uniswap, the innovation behind Uniswap, things like their own AMM model, automated market making models. These are great innovations that are invented by the DeFi entrepreneurs. But I think the aspect it's going to push DeFi industry further, things like the agent fi, because we get to a stage now, we are kind of a familiar with the AI space. People are kind of like used to the idea that you can ask a question and you can automate things using like chatbots, right? So people will be expecting to automate things using just simply by chatting, or basically you could be a non-technical person, but you can be in the industry like a pro by leveraging AI. So I think the idea here, like on-chain bots, on-chain AI agents, those would be a really big deal. So for us, it's quite important to building infrastructure, building railways can enable those capabilities. So I'll give you a simple example. Imagine you be able to build like an AI agent that can execute things in on-chain environment, and you could just basically build these AI agents for you that can manage your crypto, right? Because like yes, you can manage your crypto in a centralized exchanges. You can manage your crypto that way. But if you care about not having your assets on a centralized exchanges, and if you want a little bit more like more flexibilities compared to like what centralized exchanges offers. Because centralized exchanges, they have a broader, obviously, offerings other than trading, right? They have a lending, they have staking. Like large exchanges offer a variety of services. But if you go to decentralized world, you can find a lot more opportunities for people. When I say opportunities, I'm talking about the like optimization of your capital. So if you have a $10,000 in USDC or Ethereum, like if you look at DeFi world, if you know what you're doing, you'll be able to earn yields. So instead of keeping your Ethereum in your private wallet, in your MetaMask on your ledger, you might be earning like 2%, 5%, 6% interest, and you might be maybe providing liquidity to a liquidity pool and then earn some rewards out of that, right? I mean, some of you hearing these things, you might be thinking, whoa, that's too risky. I don't know where to start and I don't know what to do because all I know, I have $10,000 worth of USDC. That's all I have, but I don't know. Other than that, I don't know what to do next, right? So that's precisely the problem that I think a lot of people facing because a lot of people don't know what kind of tools they can rely on, what kind of tools to use. Because right now it's kind of a privilege to have that knowledge, right? So if you're familiar with a lot of DeFi tools and if you understand how to do the due diligence on DeFi tools and understand, like, read like smart contract vulnerability reports, a lot of people don't understand this industry. So you have to be an expert to not only being in the industry, but utilize the actual true value that offered by the DeFi space. Um, so I think, you know, if we have a really good traction in the DeFi space, which I believe it would happen towards to Q3, Q4, and then probably 2027, uh, I think a lot of people wanna know how they can utilize their crypto in a better way. I'm not saying like building like prediction bots and you know making money for you. Sometimes these trading not trading bots like AI agents and AI uh, support agents can give you better information, right? More tailored information that can read your smart contracts, that can read your wallet, it can read what you have been doing in the last whenever you since the beginning of your journey in crypto. It understands your on-chain data, it understands who you are in terms of your behavior and what you want, and you can keep it private, right? You can keep everything private. You can build a private AI agent for you to actually learn about your goals and help you to do better things, right? Imagine AI agent able to read vulnerabilities in a complex, very complex smart contracts that you cannot even understand, getting those ratings, right? Imagine the AI agent can basically scan. You go to sleep and you say, okay, I'm thinking to deploy my $10,000 into like some new DeFi protocols. Um, you can tell the AI agent, can you scan the the most vulnerabilities that I might face, like risks of this protocol in a smart contract level, and any vulnerabilities from a smart contract, but also other vulnerabilities, and give me a rating and find me a best option for me to actually put my $10,000. Um, and you're not executing anything, but you're just educating yourself, right? When you wake up in the morning, you get a really detailed report of these different DeFi protocols, whether it's Aave, whether it's all these lending and borrowing protocols. It will give you a detailed report with like simplified ranking for you to make more informal decisions. And I think that's a very valuable thing. Like 2020 and 2021, I wish I had a tool like this where I could just simply upload like bunch of documents, have bunch of details about the smart contract architecture and smart contract actual code into some sort of AI model to look for vulnerabilities, right? That would be like that would have been an amazing thing back in the days. Now we have those tools. like back in the days, even if you have like, you know, like basic vulnerability, automated tools, it's a far superior than relying on like a small team of smart contract auditing team for them to actually provide a report, right? We work with those kind of firms. I mean, they're really good because they're humans. They understand how another human basically attack a smart contract and try to exploit. However, but it's like we also make mistakes, right? So the vulnerabilities, it's an ongoing thing. Hackers also get smarter every day. So how do you keep up with it, right? As a human, it's very difficult, and human factor always have limitations. So I think having AI agents, because to me AI agents, it's basically it's like a smartphone kind of a revolution, because smartphone like changed a lot. How we interact with people, how we manage our daily lives, and whether it's good or bad. I think smartphones definitely disrupted the world for sure. I see AI agents kind of like a next big thing. The reason why I'm saying this, the 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 innovation and also breakthrough that AI agents can bring to individuals is phenomenal, because you are essentially having a version of you, a digital version of you, but a lot more smarter, but also able to quickly think and act and do things in a way that nobody can do for you, right? So having like um, the difference between having a smartphone for you, smartphone is great because you can just pick up your application, and then you can bring a car to you, and you can bring food to you. You can call anybody around the world anytime. You can be anywhere virtually, you using your smartphone, right? So that's a huge acceleration of how people basically interact with each other, and also how people buy things. That changed a lot. But I think AI agents, it's another level, because it's to me more like a multi-dimensional improvement, not just single dimension. Smartphone to me more like a one single thread or single direction or single dimension, if you want to call it. But AI agents can be vastly different, because it's not just intelligence. We have to think about automation. We have to think about uh, being able to cut the noise, right? Because right now we have overwhelming, not like we have information overload right now. We cannot focus sometimes, right? So we got social media, we got news, we got too many things at the moment, and we don't know which is true, which we don't know which is correct. We don't know anything. Right? Sometimes I watch some news and I don't know if it's true or not, right? So we are in a time where we don't know even what we are seeing is true, right? So um, like having agents that proper agents can help for you to basically differentiate things, help you to like be more to make better educated guesses, because when you are engaging with like a digital world like today, and complex industries like crypto, and far more sophisticated industries like DeFi, AI agents like your go-to solutions, right? AI agents might be able to understand the DeFi industry more better, understand the on-chain interactions, the on-chain vulnerabilities, understand the relationship between like a DEXs versus SEXs liquidity concentration, understand the risk factors, tail risk, black swan risks, anything can be taken into consideration and update real time, and understand, being able to read tweets and understand sentiment, what's going on. A lot of things that we take probably years to master, AI agent might be able to get that for you, like in a fraction of a cost, and in a matter of like seconds. So that changes a lot. And then beyond just information, I think AI agents can help you to execute things for you, right? Automate things that you don't want to do. Like a lot of people, like, you might have a position on Aave, like this is what we also had, experience in the past. Like Aave, you have to, there's no automated button. We can just set limit orders or anything, right? Someone has to get up. If you're sleeping, you have to get up, and you have to just press button to either add more liquidity or basically close your position. And that's just a simple DeFi protocol. But if you go more sophisticated DeFi protocol, you have to be constantly monitoring, right? And you have to be active most of the time. But if you have AI agents can help you to automate things and maybe look after your basic things that you need to do on behalf of you, of course, with a secure, more safer manner, then you it's a worry free for you, right? A lot of people make a lot of mistakes because not because they want to make mistakes, but they couldn't avoid those mistakes because they were sleeping or they were doing something silly. The having AI agents can help you to, automate and maybe make better decisions. And I think the third part, I would say, a little bit more advanced capabilities, like we are talking about, like AI agents that are living and breathing on an on-chain environment. And those use cases are far more sophisticated. So we're talking like AI agents for like providing those services for beyond uh, like consumers. When I say consumers, uh, like we're talking about retail users, right? Individual user using an AI agent to basically get more information about and automate their portfolios and etc. But if you go beyond like a retail user, if you go beyond to like maybe a DeFi protocol or maybe another exchange like a decentralized exchange, or if you think about like an institution, the B2B side in the DeFi sector, that sector is a lot more sexier in my opinion because there's so many inefficiencies because some of the tech don't even exist today. Like if I ask you, can you find a way to actually build an AI agent, but live and breathe it completely on-chain environments? Those capabilities don't exist today, right? Because you cannot host an AI agent on a blockchain, right? Because you cannot run an agent on Ethereum network. You cannot run an agent on Solana network because Solana network or Ethereum network, they are not a cloud network, right? So it's basically a decentralized database. So you cannot host or run those AI agents. And for OpenxAI, like where I see like really good value here, like being able to provide like a really tiny compute compute units that can work in the smart contract layer that users can run like a lightweight, very very tiny lightweight agents and can provide a better services automation in on-chain environment. Those are really good innovation because that can enable a lot of things, whether the AI agent can compute things that currently a basic smart contract cannot compute. Like, for example, you cannot run a smart contract in an efficient way to compute a 7-day moving average of Bitcoin and then give like a simple value, right? Because you need to pull live data from Oracle and you have to compute, and that might be expensive to do it on chain. But if you have AI agent that are able to like compute things in a slightly different way, and you can verify data in a slightly different way, which I can go into more details if you guys wanted to know more technical details. But high level, AI agent living and breathing in on-chain environment can actually do a lot of good work, not just for retail users, but for institutions and B2B, right? Um, those services can be broad, can be automation, can be things like risk management. I don't know if you guys heard a project called Gauntlet. So Gauntlet, so he's a founder is Tarun is a good friend. So Gauntlet is a kind of a company who build like specific systems and research methodologies to understand the risk on DEXs and Aave, right? When Uniswap offer like let's say uh, the latest liquidity pools and latest liquidity pool innovations like they have V3, V4. Uh, these are these are versions of the innovations. And Gauntlet, they look at specific vulnerabilities. They're looking at specific risk factors. If you have like things like concentrated liquidity and then advanced AMMs, advanced smart order routes. So um, how that can impact to the liquidity providers, how they impact for the trader. So there's tons of research they're doing in a day-to-day basis, and they publish reports and also provide that service to Uniswap. And the way they lay out, let's say, Uniswap updates, they spend like months, doing like experiments, running scenarios on a test environment, and they basically build the product and build the smart contracts layer and do audits and then release that to public, right? But that life cycle is extremely long, and having like more agents that they can utilize so they can cut time and they can basically ship their versions very quickly. That's a very extreme case of AI agents in an environment where OpenxAI can provide those services. But these edge use cases are very important to the industry, right? So if Uniswap team can push more updates more frequently, which means the retail users benefit from those innovation rather than having to wait for like a year or two to see some updates, right? And I see like these agents uh, will, will will run a big sector. It's called AgentFi. AgentFi means agents and finance together. So the primary user, it will be an agent rather than a human clicking buttons. So agent can read data, understand and understand the intent, and then execute on-chain strategies continuously. It can execute continuously 24/7, 365. It can live in Ethereum ecosystem, Solana ecosystem, L2s. It doesn't matter what it is, right? Like these capabilities are like really cool. How these capabilities can improve different ecosystem, whether it's Ethereum or Solana. Like my priority would be for Q3, Q4 for these agent-fi industry will be Solana. I think Solana will have a lot more agent to agent related solutions. Love to see a lot of DeFi use cases like Orca and Jupiter. They're actually actively looking for great solutions, and I see a good collaboration between Solana and a couple of like bigger dexes and liquidity provisionings, um, provisionings as a service providers, uh, and then working with OpenxAI together to offer better services like Agent5 solutions that combine with like tokenized GPU, right? Because tokenized GPU itself is a tokenized version of a compute that people can not only speculate and trade, but once you redeem, you can enable those compute units to be able to run on-chain agents. So not only you can speculate, you can also build things on top of that. So which can be a really cool innovation. So these are things that I see. What's the next big thing in our space? Because for OpenxAI, those kind of use cases are quite important, especially for fee generation. It's no longer like AgentFi is just a fun tool. It will generate fees. That's good for our OpenxAI network. Um, and also like it's bringing a lot of innovation into space, which means we can onboard a lot of developers to build things. When we provide like primitive tools to actually builders, then builders are using those primitive tools to experiment things and build things, right? There will be a whole lots of ecosystem startups, utilizing our tools to build things and experiment things. And if there are good traction, is good for all of us. The good for ourselves, good for the startups who are using these tools, and it's good for our ecosystem as a whole, right? So it's good for the entire Web3 ecosystem. So these are like high level, um, you know, more long term thinking that we are thinking, because I think next cycle, DeFi and AgentFi is going to be a big narrative. We're no longer kind of like we no longer, I think, the narrative of um, like AI chains, like building specific blockchains for like the AI industry. I don't think that's going to be a big deal, because a lot of people going to rely on reliable chains like Ethereum to build things. Having a dedicated chain just for AI, I think is more marketing. Those chains will have their own like growth, but I think still believe Ethereum, Solana, and Base, those chains will be a primary ecosystems to bring and serve a lot of users. Okay, so these are like high level things, long term thinking. Like short term, we got some updates. Our team has been basically working a lot for something good. We haven't shared that with public yet. We try to announce that soon. Like all of you guys, gonna be excited about that update, because it's something really cool. Not from a tech point of view, but from a product point of view, and also tangible rather than building like more digital. It's slightly physical as well. So you guys gonna hear soon. Um, and into that update, we are updating our app store, updating our V10 design and V10 capabilities just for that major release. So we have been building a lot of improvements into V10, and how V10 can enable with this major release. What's the user experience look like? Because V10, a lot of like we scrap a lot of complex interfaces and workflows that we had. Now we have simplified, so it can appear to even like a non-technical person, because we know a lot of entrepreneurs are in the space are non-coders. So we are building our platform. V10, it's basically tailoring to even non-technical user. If you're technical, you can go straight into certain tools, then you can start working immediately. But if you're not, we are looking at smooth onboarding those users into the platform, because then the stickiness of the user and the customer lifecycle would be better for us, because we are offering a really cool easy to onboard tools. So that's like our biggest priority for the last couple of days and last couple of weeks, to improve V10 V10 design, V10 user flows, because V10 it has around 12 different user flows and 12 different capabilities. So, which means each workflow has specific touch points that users will go through. Each user flow has specific capabilities, whether it's rendering images or building your own private AI agent, or building your own private LLM, or just using our compute layer to generate like high quality videos, or basically you're building a brand guideline for your company or organization that you work with, and you want to create like bunch of banners for your social media posts, and you want to create a specific brand guideline and then upload that brand guideline as a metadata to the platform, so the platform keep a memory of your brand. It understands your color themes, understand your brand better. So then you all you have to do is just go to the platform and basically select your company profile. You can create multiple profiles, right? So you can create multiple profiles, and then from a drop down, you can select your company profile or your brand profile, and all you have to just type saying, okay, can you get me 5 samples for me to post on Twitter or LinkedIn? And it even knows when you say LinkedIn, what's a better aspect ratio of the image has to be. It's going to design the image for you based on your brand guideline that's saved, right? So once this is saved, once it's trained, you don't have to redo it over and over again. The challenge with the current chatbots, like whenever you train the model, it may not keep a consistency, right? You cannot upload your brand guidelines to ChatGPT or Gemini and then save it as your specific brand guideline, and then you cannot ask like, okay, generate an image for me for Twitter, and generate another image with a specific size for uh, optimized for LinkedIn mobile, and do another one thumbnail for my YouTube, right? I cannot get that features with V10. We are working on enabling those features for those who wants to see in action, real-time action. Happy to show you guys. Like I think Chris and Paulus can coordinate with some of the community members. Happy to demonstrate what that look like. We're excited to show to some people before we launch. And if you guys wanted to see it, love to book a time and then we can show you how it works. But yeah, I mean, these are the updates from me.
Thank you, Ashton. That was awesome. Um, and yeah, me and Paulius can coordinate and we can do everything on that. So one thing I was thinking about, just because we're speaking, I know we're trying to keep it a little bit short, but we didn't talk about security when it comes to AI agents. And one thing I would love to see, and just a hypothetical scenario is, I get DM'd by an impersonator account and they go, you have to click this link or you'll lose all your tokens. It would be awesome to have an AI agent be like, hey, slow your roll, take 5 minutes, go read a book, go do whatever. I'm going to look in and validate all of these links for you. Come back in 5 minutes and I will give you the complete protocol rundown. What are your thoughts on creating something like that?
Yeah, I think that's exactly like what I was talking about. It's a fantastic use cases for our industry, right? I think for us to have a kind of like our guardians or someone's experience that always looking at you and looking after you and always know your interest and what is right and wrong. Um, that's very very important, right? I think we are become. That's why I said it's a multi-dimension type of innovation compared to like a smartphone, because smartphone allow you to do a lot of cool things that like nobody ever even thought is possible. Like I always like I always like surprised, and also I'm still like trying to wrap my head around like me going back like 1960 and try to see telling someone, hey, I have a piece of glass and I push a button and then just car appears for me. That person just basically appear, and then car knows exactly where to drop me without even me talking to the driver. And those kind of things, like I still cannot wrap my head around, going back like few decades and try to see and feel. And I think AI agents possibly will do something similar, but in a much more different and meaningful way. Hopefully, I mean, we are hoping that AI agent innovation and breakthroughs can help people better. And I think the agents, like, first of all, agents, like if you're building something, something very personal to you, and I think the design principle, um, I think the most important thing is the data and the AI agent has to be just under your full control. So which means if your agent, screw you up, you take full responsibility. The same way you decided to keep your tokens on ledger, and if you lose keys, you lost your entire tokens. And I think if people like that, and if people willing to take a bet on that, and if the agents are living in your own controlled environment, like what OpenxAI hosting and services provides, right? So, and then training the agent to understand who you are, and understand and have a general knowledge about what is wrong, what is right, and able to read not just an email or a message, but from a smart contract level, being able to read what's going on in social media to see if there are some vulnerabilities, or to fact check things, or maybe go even deeper into understand from a protocol levels whether it's having a significant underlying risk factor in smart contract layer, Aave, Uniswap, etc., right? So that's a really good, like I would pay that agent a subscription like $20 a month, because it's protect me, right? So, and I think that's a great, I think it's a great solution for a lot of users.
I 100% agree. That's what kind of why I was thinking about it, because obviously when the markets go up, there's tons of scammers. Markets go down, there's tons of scammers. Scammers never leave. But a good way to use an AI agent to defend yourself is a pretty cool protocol. So what I'm going to do next is, because we're going into the AMA part of the session, is I'm going to ask Paulius if he's good. Give me like an emoji to jump up and ask some questions, and then I will jump into everything that's been brought up from the community.
Yeah, sure. Was nice to discussion, guys. Hello, and yeah, let's start with a nice community comment. So it was gathered from the TG. So the community member want us just to thank for Ashton and every single person in the OpenxAI team. Nothing goes unnoticed, and super grateful for all the consistency. Even some of the inconsistencies were sorted and heard by the community. So thank you. So nice to see this reaction from community. I want to share with you all, guys. I think that's a good sign for efforts the team put it in every day. And yeah, let's go with the questions. So first one is, how is V10 looking for a light launch and full launch? Are there suspected dates or locked in dates?
I'm super excited. Like if I show you guys V10, like the latest V10, which we got the product design, like we updated even like 1 hour ago, is super sexy. I'm blown away, like the features and capabilities. Of course, we're gonna release those updates and features, not all at once in stages. But yeah, I think like I'm pretty happy with what we have so far, and with the launch that we're gonna do, with the good news that we're gonna launch, the V10 is just one part of it. I would say 50%. The other 50% we're going to be announcing to public. So the V10 it's kind of a go along with that launch, and so there'll be less features for sure, but we want to enable features like one features at a time. But right now, because my job is the product, just to see the vision of the product for the next, let's say Q2, Q3, Q4. but I'm so happy because I think like we nailed certain features that we definitely needed into the platform, and now the product, it's kind of a beta test or a beta version that I have it in my hand and I can actually experiment. I can play around with it. That's why I'm saying if community wanted to actually see it, it's like to me is mind blowing because it has so many amazing features. Whether you wanna like being able to build like a mobile app for you, or you want to do like a deep research, or you want to create like a compute layer for you, or maybe generate images, videos. There's a tons of features that we kind of laying out. Of course, those, I don't want to say too much because my engineering team gonna kill me, right? Because whenever I show like product update, because I look after product design, and when I say show like, hey guys, this is what I like, and this is what we think we should push, and when we do the validation and user experience workshops, engineering team basically uh, going a little bit heavy on me, but like these features is very difficult to implement, right? But my job is to push the team, and my job is to not to release like ordinary tech. We want like extraordinary tech and great breakthroughs in the space, and prioritize how to do proper go to market and build like a sustainable revenue models. Like one good thing that we did recently, we basically got accepted to integrate with Stripe. Stripe. So Stripe is one of the big payment gateway provider in the US. So we got accepted to Stripe platform. Now we can accept not just crypto and stables, we can also accept Apple Pay, Google Pay, and any credit card. So that's going to be a really good. So the platform, the V10 platform, people can pay through using credit card, Apple Pay, Google Pay, and stablecoins. So it can widen the user base. So I'm really happy with those innovation and also integrations, because I was a bit kind of nervous whether we will get accepted into Apple Pay and Google Pay, because I mean those payment gateways can be very difficult because they really pay attention to crypto projects. They don't like to to work with crypto projects, but since we are a U.S. entity, since we haven't been doing anything naughty things in the space, we are in good shape, and it's really good, right? So having integrations and having like traditional banking railways is good, because of course, um, for me, crypto is the native crypto is the most important thing, right? But if a user want to pay using Google Pay or Apple Pay for a compute, and if you can give an option so that can reduce the friction, right? So it's a better user experience and a better service design for the platform. So the platform utility goes up in value. Also, we generate revenue, because keeping on only in crypto, we reduce a lot of we basically ignoring 90% of the user base, because 90 to 95% of the user base are Web2 AI users. And V10 is designed not for crypto AI users, but also designed for regular AI user. So excited.
Cool. The next question is about the buybacks. So, what would buybacks look like, in particular, based on current outlook?
I can't give you dates, but with the launch of the V10 and also the other launch we're doing, we will be announcing buybacks around that dates. The buybacks will happen obviously in a gradual way, but yeah, it will be announced with the launch. So with the V10 launch and the launch that we're doing, I cannot say what the launch is. Otherwise, I'm giving the information. We're gonna do a launch together. The buybacks will be publicly announced as well. At the legal entity side, so we got some updates there, so it's good. So we can do some buybacks now. Yeah, so that will be announced soon.
And that's, guys, another reason to follow us on X and to actively participate in our TG and Discord servers, so not to miss any new updates and be first in the line. The next question, can anything be shared publicly about new listings for 2026 and beyond?
Listings as in, I'm assuming like Texas DEXs listing?
Yeah, I think that was main idea.
I mean, we are going to be targeting tier one exchanges, right? Like our listing strategy would be when we go into Solana ecosystem, we're going to focus on DEXs because there's volume there, easy to integrate. And we had a good strategy last year. And we are going to spend more time right after the launch of the V10 and also buybacks. We'll be speaking, resuming those conversations that we had. Because last year we actually like onboarded 2 tier one exchanges, right? They were a little bit expensive last year, to be honest. Some exchanges, they were asking like ridiculous amounts. But now I think we can negotiate better. But we don't want to go now without even having a V10 launch and having some buybacks done. We have a good plan, but like major tier one exchange, I would say push to like Q2, Q3, because that makes sense. Because speaking with exchanges and DEXs, like they're also advising like not to do major announcements and major activities, because the fact some of exchanges their listing fees, even though the markets are shit, they haven't reduced much. That's what I heard. But I think they're more open to negotiations for sure. It makes no sense for us. Like take like Binance as an example, right? I'm not saying Binance is let's say a Binance. So like token launches in Binance right now, it's not ideal. The amount of money that you spend on listing is not ideal right now. So it makes sense to do like Q3, Q4. But before we go into those exchanges, we'll be prioritizing like DEXs a lot, because DEXs we need to improve the DEXs for increase our liquidity concentration. Once we kind of cover better DEXs, including base ecosystem like Airdrum, Oka, and Jupiter in Solana, that help us to go to the next level, because the more liquidity we have in the daily trade volumes, it helps us to land a better deal with exchanges. Otherwise, you pay like ridiculous amounts, which make no sense.
Right, Ashton. Thanks for your take on this one. I think this one was covered, of course, by you, but maybe you still have to add something on this. What is Ashton's primary focus as we slowly exit Q1 and lead into Q2?
Yeah, the Q1 like biggest focus for Q1 is V10 and also this great update that we have. So we are launching V10 with the something new, and then buyback. That's like the main thing. And then there we have since the legal structure is getting clear now. So we'll do some capital raise, right? So we'll be working with some institutions in the US to raise capital, because we need capital to push for Solana ecosystem. Solana ecosystem can be quite expensive, so we need some capital. So we do some fundraise. So the Q1, Q2 will be focused more into the growth and fundraise. And Q3 is where we're going to launch the tokenized GPU. Landing into Q4, that's where we're going to focus on Solana and exchange listing.
All right, thank you. Guys, reminder for you, since it's the last question from the community, TG and Discord. So if you want to ask something live, Ashton himself, please request a mic. We will grant you the access, and you could do that after my last question. So I see community members, Heisenberg, Somi, you guys are always active, so invited you for a discussion as well. And let's go with the last question. Have there been any new strategic partnerships or eyes from big players on OpenxAI recently?
I mean, the key word is strategic partnerships, right? So that's good, because partnerships, I hate this, Web3 version of partnerships, because most of these partnerships means nothing. They make partnerships to pump prices and maybe just build some excitement, but it doesn't yield much other than just short-term price pumps. Like for us, strategic partnership means either integration, or they're using our technology, or we are using their technology, right? So for us, main focus is adding more data centers. So we are actively looking to work with better data center providers. That's one focus. And when you go to Solana ecosystem, we have a variety of like partners that we wanted to work with. Like I mentioned, Solana all the way from Solana Foundation to other liquidity related things like Orca and Jupiter. Those are strategic partnerships and integrations. Beyond that, for the Q1 and Q2, when the V10 is growing, we'll be working with like specific partners that onboard users for us. Because yes, we can push ourselves, but we need a little bit more help. So we will work on specific companies who help onboarding users. Once the V10 is launched, it's crucial for us to give like a good push, because goal for us is having like 100,000 users using the platform. So in order to have like 100,000 users, you need to target millions of users. And out of 100,000 users, like how many users might be using paying subscription, or a paying for the platform, it will be maybe 10% or less. So that's why we need to aim for like high numbers. As long as V10 delivers something phenomenally amazing compared to what exists today, we will be able to onboard a lot of users in the AI space specifically, because AI space, it's kind of fragmented. But when it comes to infrastructure as a service and like a better tooling and better infrastructure as a service, I see a big gap. It's only like few players are dominating, like Hugging Face and few other cloud providers offer like AI cloud as a service, but tooling is still like primitive at the moment. That's why I think the V10 offers like the infrastructure layer for orchestration, and then the middleware layer and also application layer, all managed as a full stack as a service. And I think it's a great value proposition for a lot of entrepreneurs and builders in space. So what we will be focusing a lot, we will be focusing on educational type of institutions, whether it's universities that we can work with. We can offer like specific tooling for their university students, because they want better tools. If we onboard them into our platform through our educational portal that we have, those students can be our long-term users, right? So we'll be looking at those channels and partners that we can work with to onboard like more long-term users. So which is like academic space. And then last thing would be, we wanted to work with like a couple of good marketing firms that we want to partner up with, and then give them like a skin in the game, like a token allocation, and then a retainer for them to help us to actually spread the word, right? Because when you're growing, it's very important to have like established relationship with existing news articles and KOLs and etc. So having a dedicated like 1 or 2 marketing firm with a good reputation can help us as well. So that's also being a strategic partnership scope for Q1 and Q2.
All right, Ashton, thanks for a broad answer. Since the questions are over, shifting the mic to Chris.
Thank you, Paulius. That was awesome, and you're completely correct. We need better tools, and that's what OpenxAI is building. So thank you to everyone in the community for bringing those questions up. And just a reminder, you can still bring some up now. You can drop them in our TG or Discord. Or if you'd like, you can request the mic and speak. However, at the current moment, we are going to go to Sami. The mic is yours.
Okay. Good evening, Ashton. Good evening, House. Sami here. So, Austin, you really did say a lot of interesting things about AI agents, which I found interesting. So I think my question is hovering on it, especially with the fact that there have been a lot of productivity with this AI agent, both on the decentralized side and also the centralized side. And since most times when we come on the space, we talk about chatbots, we talk about creating apps, interface, and all that. So I just got like a train of thought, and I would like you to look into it with me. So let me just give an analogy. So supposing probably a creator created maybe a casino app interface, and the creator decided, okay, I'm going to use an agent to be able to create the patterns, study the patterns, and if so pattern align, it gives out a win. It results in a win, and the user at the other end of the side, if the user gets this particular pattern, the user wins so amount of thing using that pattern. So after the creator is done creating the app interface and probably publishes to the market and all that. And the users start using this app and probably they said, okay, why don't I use AI agent to be able to play this game, to be able to study the patterns that this kind of games have so that I can be able to get this particular way. And the users, use that AI agent to be able to study the pattern and get that way. So now leaving the creator at some losses because the user will be making a lot of profits and the creator will be making a lot of losses. So I see it like, okay, kind of disadvantageous to the creator, creating that particular thing. And it just as if like it's AI agent going against AI agent. Let me just give another example. Just supposing probably a teacher said, okay, I want to give my student a very difficult tactical practical question that I have to think a lot. And the teacher decided, okay, I'm going to use AI to construct this question, like, infuse a lot of patterns into this question so that they'll be able to answer it. And when the assignment is being given to the student and the student probably goes back home and says, wow, this question is really tactical. What was my teacher actually thinking that he or she gave me this particular question? And that student tried to say, okay, let me use AI to be able to figure out the patterns. And the student used AI to figure out the patterns. And eventually the AI gives the student possible solutions, possible patterns to be able to arrive at the answer. So that is, from the teacher's perspective, using AI to be able to give out a question and the student, getting the answer using AI. So it's like AI versus AI. So it's going to be kind of disadvantageous because, that student got the answer not by actually working out with his brain, but using AI, which the teacher really didn't intend the student to be able to use, AI and all that, but together with his brain power. So that is kind of like disadvantageous there. So looking at it from this angle, from the teacher's analogy angle, and looking at it from the casino analogy angle, it's like AI going against AI. So when AI going against AI, especially right now in our era, everything is like being automated with AI, and the true genuinity of some certain things really can't be achieved. I kind of see like a disadvantageous thing there. So Austin, over to you. Can you just like maybe what would you say about this train of thought that I just conceived while you were saying, while you were speaking about your AI agent? Thank you.
Thank you, Somi, for that question. I'll answer maybe two parts. The short answer, like any technology that we use to automate and make like maybe make us smarter is essentially it's making us dumber, right? This is the issue. Like we've seen this with social media. Like when you look at like young children, I feel so bad because like IQ and being able to think like strategic thinking, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, being able to like regulate emotions, being able to handle pressure, soft skills like people skills. I see a massive decline of those like human qualities. And I think with AI agents and AI technologies, it's going to further decline. So in other words, we are becoming more more anger, more sadder, um, more lonely, and more dumber. Right? I think this is what's happening, um, and um, and I think it's inevitable at the moment, unless something major happened. But at the same time, um, there are positive and negative, right? If if you're providing food, let's say if you're making food in a food industry, um, let's say your primary goal is to feed people, like a pizza shop as an example. Your main goal is to give a really enjoyable meal to people. But if someone basically come and use that pizza, like abusing the pizza as a like being able to not control themselves and eating a lot, then then yes, it can harm the person, right? But the problem with like pizza example and AI agents or AI technologies, these technologies can be extremely addictive, right? So people like us, we have responsibility. Like I think about this a lot, like designing technologies and products that are responsible, right? Not to make the technologies so much hooked into the user. That's why like infrastructure space is vastly different to the responsibility like building an app, because building an app is like a very simple interface where users able to interact with it. And in Silicon Valley, they 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 manipulate the user to keep the user in the platform. Um, the idea of like hooked, that's a very strong uh, dark pattern that Silicon Valley been using for many years to keep people inside trap in their apps. But when it's come to infrastructure space, it's a little bit broader, right? So we're not trying to nail one single app to be the super killer app, right? Even V10 is broader. Like I told you, like 12 different journeys. So it's a broader. It's more like infrastructure as a service. Um, but for your point, I think like AI to AI agents, of course, there's going to be a significant disadvantage for those who cannot afford those things. And of course, there are going to be a lot of disadvantage. Like someone could say, you know what, I don't want to even read the papers. I don't want to study anything. I'm going to deploy AI agent and do the work for me. And I'm just going to go and maybe chill or maybe just scroll on my phone, right? I think this is really possible. And I don't know a better solution. I don't know if we get to a point that everybody just decide that leave the phone for a few hours and go out and touch grasses and connect with people. I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. It seems like society is just heading to be more lonelier and anxious and lonely.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna kind of close this one out here now. Thank you so much to everyone. Thank you, Sami. Thank you, Paulius or Crypto Bald Guy. Thank you, Ashton. Thank you to all the wonderful community members. thank you to everyone who shows up. I'm going to leave the last couple of seconds to Ashton, and then I'm going to close out with my own personal thought. Ashton, is there anything you would like to say to close this AMA out?
Yeah, well, I mean, I could speak hours about the AI ethics and technology in general. Like I would say, like, whatever you do, like, try to remember, like, we are humans. So try to, like, maybe it's good to listen to our, like, people who like lived in like 60s and 70s and 80s. Maybe listen to them a little bit, right? So I think young generation is, you know, like, people think a lot that they know better. Um, like, I was speaking to some of my older uncles, right? And I was talking about, how exciting this is and blah blah blah. And then he was asked me a very important question. I get all of this, Ashton, but, like, when was the last time you did this? When was the last time you took care of yourself? And when was the last time you slept? Like, there were some questions, right? Um, and then we went to a deeper conversation, like, meaning of things. And I think sometimes we get caught up with so much, like, things that may not even matter sometimes. So I think, um, like, one message to all of you, because I think a lot of us in the crypto industry, crypto space, AI space, maybe it's good to maybe, like, take like a couple of days out of this, the internet, social media, and Telegram, and looking at charts, and maybe say hello to someone, just have, like, good relationship with someone, and go out and maybe go to movie, like, these kind of things sometimes helps to clear your mind, see things in a different way. And when you come back, you actually guarantee, like, I took, like, literally like a half a day, and I feel like very different, on certain things. So the last message, of course, in summary, what I want to say, let's not forget that we are not, agents or tech bots. We're humans, right? So we have we have certain things we need to look after.
I 100% agree with this. I actually did this not too long ago. So I went and watched Scream 7 with a friend. No spoilers to anyone, but it was a wonderful day out and just kind of detoxed from everything. I will say this, Scream 7 is Scream. It's the exact same movie as it always has been, but it was still wonderful and it was such a great time. So I'm going to end this one here, and I'm going to end it by saying this. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, everyone, for being a part. Remember, the motto of OpenxAI is learn, build, earn. We have the power to create and build, but we also have the capability of earning for our creations. Thank you all for showing up. Take care, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Paulus, and thank you, everyone. Thanks.